events, not doing things, helping each other out on the things that we can help each other out. We have like email threads going on, like, oh, what's a good bar that you recommend? Like, hey, my venue fell off. Where can I go? And I personally think like building community is like a very, very personal thing. This is all built with friendships, coffees, beers. Like, um, I imagine like some people see this a little too transactional, but this is definitely like a very, very personal thing. And we try to make sure that, we're very good friends with other community leaders, and that we are always in good standing with other community leaders, which has been very powerful and very helpful for our organization, particularly because Latino is such a big, broad term. There's like Afro Latinos, Latinos were gay, straight, immigrants, not immigrants. It's like people that were able to like afford Stanford casually, and or people that like it was super hard for them to like go to a community. Like we have all like everything from all the spectrum of what Latino can be. So having connections with other organizations is super important, for particular for like the Latinos that I think that are maybe less common in our community, and feel that they have they have like several identities, and they need like more different sorts of communities to connect with.
Great. One particular group, the undocumented group, I know that during this challenge of COVID, Techqueria saw a challenge in this community and stepped up. Can you share a little bit about what you saw and what you guys have done thus far?
Yeah. So we have worked with undocumented communities in the past. Unfortunately, they are um, like easily forgotten by a lot of people. They're not always a huge player on either in tech or in politics or whatnot. Like every couple of years or so, there'll be like a big news because there's a vote, or because a political party wants to try and use them as pawns or take advantage of them or something, and then it for like a week everybody remembers that there's 11 million undocumented people in the U.S., and then the rest of the year kind of like everybody forgets. So there are communities that we really try to keep in mind, because they are super hardworking. They're super we believe that they definitely have a right to be in this country, and they deserve a much better treatment. And unfortunately, when there's pandemics or when there's hurricanes or things like this, they are affected the worst in many ways, because they don't have access to federal or state resources in most parts of the country. A lot of them, practically all of them, don't have health insurance and things like that. So it's a lot harder for them to feel um, to be to receive the care and the help that they need, compared to many others. And there's also like the constant fear that if I try to go to a hospital, maybe ICE is going to be there and I'm going to get deported. There's tons of cases of people that were trying to do the right thing and go to the court to try and fix their status or something, and then they got deported because there was a raid happening. So there, and particularly we think with the coronavirus, right? Like we need everybody to stay healthy, because if we forget about treating a percentage of our population and they get it, then when you're walking around and you pass a construction site, you're gonna get it too, and then you're gonna get it to your parents. So it's like this is not the time to be, I guess, thinking a lot about like politics or identities or anything. We're like, okay, how do we actually make sure that everybody in this United States manage to survive and stay healthy during these hard times? And so that's kind of what we thought about the undocumented community. Like we really cared about them, and we wanted to see what can we do to help. And when we were brainstorming ideas to see what to come up with like a plan, or like, okay, what do we do? um, Cash was what came to our minds the most, because like we have a lot of volunteers and a lot of people in the organization that are willing to put their time to help in many ways, and a lot of them volunteer with other organizations, nonprofits, or mentoring. But in this case, like you cannot, if your family needs insulin, or if you need to like buy food for your children and stuff like that, a graphic designer giving you a couple hours of their time might not really help. So we decided to start a fundraiser. We didn't. This is the first time that we open a fundraiser to the public like this. Thankfully, Techqueria has been funded by donations from corporate, like mostly corporations like So we haven't never done like a fundraiser like this. And we were very, surprised and very excited to see how many people have contributed. We were at first hoping to get like $5,000 or $10,000. Now we're close to 50,000, and we're trying to right now we're trying to finalize our selection criteria process, because we got way too many. Like we got a lot more requests than we expected from people that need money. So we're trying to finalize our selection criteria now to pick, as many people and as much impact as we can have with this request, and start sending money their way by the end of the week.
No, that's great. And I know I remember you said you guys were just on Nasdaq talking about this on the streaming, and I remember when you posted, our goal is 25,000, and then a couple days later said we have 25,000, and then increased the goal. But I think people forget that in all the restaurants that we went to, when we can freely move around, or even in communities that are picking the produce that we are buying now in the stores, are the people making it happen in the background, and right now are having a hard time. So applaud you all for the work you're doing. In terms of the, I want to take it at a higher level. What are some things, like now? I believe now is a time where there's a lot of stress in the system, but really it's just revealing problems that we have had all along. Or an example of that is the fatality rates end up being higher for communities of color, and whatnot, because of COVID. What are some of the things that you think we can do after this is done to really do make the U.S. Better?
Right. Well, I guess we were talking a lot about that yesterday after we heard the news of Bernie. I think, well, we there's a lot of challenges that are coming around, and it's very complicated, and then definitely COVID-19 is revealing a lot of I don't know, but also I hope, in a way, I hope that we're coming out of this like so much better, because people are, I mean, there's like almost 10 million people unemployed now suddenly, and completely overwhelming the unemployment system and the healthcare system and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of people, or not just me, but like it's been said, like a lot of people that were very reluctant to understand what I don't know, healthcare for all, Medicare for all meant, or a lot of people that were reluctant to talk about a safety net or free college or stuff like that, because of they were associating it with like communism and all these scary words, are now realizing that, like, oh, this is not communism, this is basic human rights. And we need to hopefully not forget what this pandemic felt like, because things like this are most likely going to continue happening. Like, the it's most likely we're not going to have a vaccine ready and like, administered to everybody for the COVID-19 in at least like 18 months. That means that for at least 18 months we're going to still continue having some sort of form of social distancing. That's a lot of that's a lot of time and a lot of effort. It might go even longer if the virus ends up mutating and stuff like that. Like, we live in like a lot of uncertainty, and then this virus might not be the last one. There might be coming other versions of coronaviruses in the future, or there might be climate changes are starting to affect different cities now super hard. This pandemic in a way is very unique in that it was global, but many states and many cities have suffered different versions of this. My girlfriend says that this reminds her a lot about Sandy, because when Sandy hit the New Jersey area, they were like, several days without electricity. The streets were super flooded. They didn't know what was going outside on the world. It was like, stuck at home for like 2 weeks. And so she's like, okay, I'm ready for this. I've done it before. But many other people on the country have never felt anything like that, right? Like, people in California suffer through the fires every year, and people in New York don't care, because they're like, oh, that's their problem. So it's interesting to see like a problem that is affecting like all of us, and where people are realizing now, okay, we need to change the way that maybe politics are being done. Maybe we need to, like, maybe my job wasn't that important. Maybe we don't need so many people doing this. Maybe I should respect the farmers more. Maybe, we owe school teachers a better salary. So I think, I hope that people come out of this more motivated and more strong to continue, fighting for the things that we want to, fight for in any scale that it happens. Some people might feel that they want to run for office, and good for them. Some other people might not feel bad, but they would be like, okay, I'm just gonna like treat my employees better, and that's great. Like, that's a victory. Like, everybody that helps in like any way, small or big, really makes a difference in the world. And I hope that these hard times motivate a lot more people to be kinder, and to put their little granito de arena, le decimos en español, to help society be a nicer place.
I love it. I love it. Especially you have the kindness zone in the background, echoing what you're saying. I love it.
Yeah, we got
No,
grabbed that at Burning Man last year.
love it. No, it's great. Well, I echo what you're saying, especially with Bernie Sanders. I think just dropping out of the race. I think no matter who you who you support, I think the community was saying, oh wait, you were going to do all these things, and him turning back and saying no. How about it's up to you. We can all do
Yeah.
these things. So just like you all starting the fund you did to fund these undocumented families, even giving them some change to get food or through this, because we're really just it's not over. It's going to be a long journey. It takes all of us stepping up and doing what we can. So wanted to applaud Techqueria and you, David, and thanks for joining us today to share your story.
Thank you so much. Very excited. And yeah, it's I don't think there's no more leaders that are gonna come out. It's up to us now.
No,
More
definitely.
than ever. Mm-hmm.
So thank you again. This was
much.
David, founder of Techqueria. Again, this is Rebel One Live. We cover founders and investors that are in the impact space, and you can find us every week on either Thursday nights at 7 p.m. or 10 a.m. on Thursdays. And again, thanks again. And signing off. We'll see you next week. Thanks again, David.